Relationship advice. My partner's hygiene and cleanliness are straining our relationship. Can we make it work? I, 42F, really like my partner. 47M. They are so sweet and romantic, completely madly in love with me and treat me like a princess. They are a bit of an oddball, maybe on the spectrum, which I like about them. They are very creative and nerdy about their passions, movies and music. For example, one way they express their feelings is by creating compilations for me of songs that have words or evoke feelings they want to share, but also are stylistically things they think I would enjoy, and they are very often right. I love being with this partner. They are a unique and amazing human being, and I'm so lucky I get to share my love with them. At the start of our relationship, I noticed some issues with their level of hygiene and cleanliness at home. They were very receptive and made efforts to work on those things. Now, this weekend I went over to their place, which I've been doing since we started dating this summer, and stayed there 4 days. Usually I stay 2 days. Their place is tidy, things are put away, but it is dirty. Layers of dust, grimy floors, crumbs or rings of drinks on the table. This weekend they walked in the house with their boots on and got snow, mud and salt all over the floors and didn't clean it up. I think they don't mind walking around and getting their socks wet and dirty, but I don't like that. In terms of hygiene, they have made big improvements since we started dating. Showering before we meet, putting on clean clothes, wiping their mustache, cutting hand and toenails, washing their hands and nails, but they still struggle with brushing their teeth. They will stick their toothbrush in their mouth for 10 seconds tops and leave their soapy toothbrush on the counter without rinsing it properly, making white stains everywhere, and the toothpaste dries and cakes onto their toothbrush. We had instances when we started dating where they were not so clean in their genital area. After the moment, we did talk about how important it is to be clean for each other, and since then, it has been better. But it's still a bit of an issue, and I feel like I have to be vigilant or on top of it, and I don't like that feeling, or being put in that position. This weekend, referring to their teeth brushing, I told them I didn't feel like I should have to say this to a 47-year-old man. I want them to know why I'm frustrated. That's why I communicated about this with them, and they really are good at listening and taking constructive criticism. They really try their best to make improvements and really care about making me feel comfortable and safe. I just don't like that I feel like I'm trying to change them. I want to accept them as they are, but I told them that as they are now is not compatible with my level of comfort and expectations of cleanliness with a partner. Also, that they shouldn't be doing these things for me, but for themselves. I think they have issues with self-love and self-respect, and that's why I've neglected themselves and their space for so long. I also think they might not have learned to do these things properly when they were younger, and possibly that being on the spectrum makes them oblivious to things that some would find physically uncomfortable, like having dirty wet socks on, or details they would find off-putting, like not seeing layers of grime and dirt accumulated on doors and shelves. Is that a thing for people on the spectrum? When we talked, I tried to be non-judgmental, but I feel I could have done a better job of it. I feel so bad. I told them I felt conflicted, because it shouldn't be my job to have to tell them these things. Anyone else, and I would have broken up with them or stopped coming to their place. That it makes me question and doubt whether it is safe, clean enough for me to be intimate with them. They listened but were really upset, tearing up. I think they are just really scared I will leave them. They said my points were valid and they want to work on these things, but also that they haven't done nothing and have been trying really hard, and things are way better than before. Although they are right about that, these excuses kind of irked me. I'm just worried that things will slip back towards a level of cleanliness I'm not comfortable with and that I have to keep reminding them of the importance of this, or that it's just not good enough. For example, they brushed their teeth after our conversation and rinsed off the brush part of their toothbrush but still left foam all over the handle. It just still feels not sanitary, and I don't want to have to police the level of cleanliness of everything they do. It feels like I'm being nitpicky, which I don't want to do. I don't want to have to deal with this at all with anyone I'm dating. It just feels like too much. It feels like I'm in a constant battle with myself when it comes to balancing my love for my partner with my expectations for cleanliness and hygiene. I genuinely adore them and feel incredibly lucky to have someone so sweet, thoughtful, and creative in my life. They do so many things that make me feel cherished and loved, from crafting personalized music compilations to making an effort to be receptive to my feedback. Their quirky, nerdy personality and the passion they have for their interests make them incredibly unique and lovable. I see so much potential in them, and being with them makes me feel special and happy in so many ways. However, the issue of cleanliness and hygiene is starting to weigh heavily on me, and it's affecting how I feel in the relationship. At the beginning of our time together, I noticed some hygiene issues and brought them up. To their credit, they were very receptive and took significant steps to improve. They started showering regularly before we met up, wearing clean clothes, and even paying attention to smaller details like trimming their nails and wiping their mustache. It felt like real progress, and I appreciated their efforts so much. But now, months into the relationship, I realize that these changes haven't fully addressed the deeper issues. Their home is still dirty, even though it's tidy. Layers of dust coat surfaces, the floors are grimy, and crumbs or drink stains linger on tables. This past weekend, they walked inside with muddy, snowy boots, leaving a mess on the floor that they didn't clean up. It baffled me that they seemed unbothered by wet, dirty socks, a sensation that would drive me crazy. These are things I can't ignore because they make me uncomfortable and anxious, especially when I'm staying there for more than a night or two. Then there's the issue of their teeth brushing, which continues to be a major sticking point for me. They'll brush their teeth for barely 10 seconds, leaving the toothbrush soapy and covered in residue that ends up leaving stains on the counter. It feels like a lack of basic hygiene, and it's frustrating because it's such a small, manageable thing that could make a huge difference. Even after I brought it up, they made a half-hearted attempt to improve, rinsing the bristles but leaving foam on the handle. It feels like no matter how much they improve, there's always a lingering sense that it's not quite enough. What worries me most is the feeling that I've been put in the role of a parent or coach. I don't want to be the one who constantly reminds them to clean up after themselves, brush their teeth properly, or make their living space more sanitary. I want to feel like an equal partner in a relationship, not someone who has to police their behavior. This dynamic is exhausting and makes me question whether I can handle it long term. I don't think these issues are coming from a place of malice or laziness on their part. I genuinely believe they struggle with self-love and self-respect, and that's part of why they've neglected themselves and their space for so long. They've mentioned that they didn't grow up learning proper habits for cleanliness, and I suspect they might also be on the autism spectrum, which could explain some of their behaviors. For example, they don't seem bothered by things that would normally make others uncomfortable, like walking around with wet socks or not noticing layers of grime on surfaces. But even with that understanding, it doesn't change how these issues make me feel. When I brought up my concerns this weekend, I tried to be as gentle and non-judgmental as possible, but I know it still hurt them deeply. They teared up and expressed fear that I might leave them. They acknowledged that my points were valid and reiterated their commitment to working on these issues. They also pointed out that they've already made significant progress since we started dating, which is true, but the fact that they framed it as having done something, rather than addressing the specific concerns at hand, irked me. It felt like a way to deflect from the current problem instead of fully owning it. Despite their willingness to try, I can't shake the feeling that this will continue to be an uphill battle. I don't want to be in a relationship where I have to be constantly vigilant, monitoring their cleanliness and hygiene to ensure it meets my standards. It feels unfair to both of us. I shouldn't have to play the role of enforcer, and they shouldn't feel like they're being constantly judged or criticized. But at the same time, I can't ignore my discomfort. I want to feel safe and comfortable in my partner's space and intimate with them without hesitation or second-guessing their hygiene. I feel so conflicted. On one hand, I love this person deeply and want to support them as they work through these challenges. On the other hand, I can't help but wonder if our differences in hygiene and cleanliness are too fundamental to overcome. I don't want to feel like I'm trying to change them, and I certainly don't want them to feel like they have to change for me. I want them to prioritize these things for their own well-being, not just to keep me happy. At the end of the day, I'm left with more questions than answers. Am I being unreasonable or overly critical? Should I be more patient and understanding, or is it fair to expect a partner to meet certain basic standards? And, most importantly, how do I navigate this situation in a way that honors both my own needs and the love and respect I have for my partner? For more interesting daily life stories, make sure to subscribe and comment your ideas. I will be posting more stories about a lot of aspects of life. Thanks for watching. See ya!